Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
After several days of protest, the National Guard arrives in San Diego County. The sheriff explains why he called them in.
Before last week's controversial arrest and subsequent protests, La Mesa police have been grappling with how to improve community relations. 10 News talks with the advocate trying to help them implement change.
Plus, the photos now shared thousands of times from a protest in the East Village that has many people smiling. But first, a massive group of protesters is marching through San Diego. They started at police headquarters downtown. They are now making their way to the heart of North Park. It is one protest of many as demonstrators nationwide take to the streets for the 10th straight day. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt. 10 News reporter Anthony Pura is joining us now alongside those marching downtown. Anthony?
That's right, and we've been marching with them for about an hour now since they left downtown San Diego. We are marching north on 6th Avenue. You can see the crowd here. You can see this is the front of the march here. You can see the front a group of people linking hands and walking together in solidarity. They have signs up, they've been chanting, and they are followed by a larger, massive group of people. They've been very energetic during this entire time. We are making our way to North Park right now. The end place, they're expected to come together around University and 30th, and we are making our way there. It's about an hour walk, they said, from downtown to there, depending on the stops that they make. Now, this is a youth-led demonstration, so we are seeing a younger crowd out here. And like all the demonstrations that we've seen, this one is a protest against racial injustice. This is also an organized demonstration. We had a chance to speak to some of the organizers. They say that they have every intent to keep it peaceful, and it has been from what we've seen. Take a listen.
I would never say, hey, it's okay to go ahead and riot and loot and destroy your own home, your own area. You know, we want to keep San Diego beautiful. We know that San Diego is diverse, and we love that. You know, the diversity of San Diego is what can make a peaceful protest successful out here.
So we'll do Sky 10 after the sound. All right, so we are also flying over this protest. Sky 10 is flying over the march, and you can see a better idea of just how large this crowd is from the sky. Again, we are making our way to North Park right now. They're very energetic. They've been chanting. They've been holding signs. They've been chanting the names of Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and they've been very energetic and moving forward. We're going to keep walking with these demonstrators. So far, again, it has been a very, very peaceful protest, and we will keep an eye on it and bring you more updates on later editions of 10 News. We're reporting live, Anthony Pura, 10 News.
Thank you, Anthony. A group of protesters is also gathered in Chula Vista right now, making their voices heard. The protest started around 2 o'clock in Eastlake. It was originally scheduled for Sunday, but organizers decided to move it up. There was a moment earlier in the afternoon when several Chula Vista police officers joined the protesters, and they all took a knee. The crowd is shrinking at this protest, which has remained peaceful.
The California Army National Guard has arrived in San Diego County. Although protests have been peaceful for the last several days, Sheriff Gore says he is concerned about potential riots that may come. Our 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala explains this was in response to what unfolded Saturday night in La Mesa.
Approximately 200 National Guard troops are now in San Diego County, 100 of them here at the La Mesa Police Department. This comes after Sheriff Bill Gore requested their help to protect any businesses or buildings from potential violence that could come.
I think it's good for precaution. Probably was needed last weekend more so than today.
Community members reacting to the sight of National Guard troops settling into their positions around La Mesa Police headquarters.
I believe that the police were overwhelmed in La Mesa and that they need backup.
I absolutely 100% agree with it, as we have been praying for more protection.
Sheriff Bill Gore requested the National Guard's presence. He says sheriff's deputies came to the aid of La Mesa police Saturday night, but they still didn't have enough resources to stop businesses from being destroyed or broken into.
To be quite honest, overwhelmed us. We've seen arson, we've seen looting.
The protesters were fine and it was peaceful from what I could see, but it was towards the towards the nighttime on Saturday that things got out of hand. I'm talking about the looters, not protesters.
While demonstrations across the county have been peaceful throughout the week, the National Guard troops are here to provide any additional security around buildings and to prevent any destruction of property. Approximately 100 troops are in La Mesa, while the second shift is in an undisclosed location ready to move in where needed across the county.
And there's those that are trying to get their point across and those that are just taking advantage.
While the troops do not have peace officer powers, Gore says this frees up local officers to respond to any incidents of arson, break-ins, looting, vandalism, or rioting.
The National Guard will hopefully can help against that. I don't know if it's best if they're just all nestled in at City Hall.
Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
A new community group in La Mesa hopes to protect businesses and start a dialogue. The founders of La Mesa Civil Defense say they plan to stand in front of businesses holding fire extinguishers and garden hoses. And despite the curfew, they hope their presence will deter those looking to loot. During the looting Saturday night there, one of the group's founders said that he spoke with someone who was targeting a nearby business.
How does breaking our windows and stealing her merchandise honor the memory of George Floyd?
Well, he says the man later returned to tell him that he was right. The group says it hopes to have more conversations like that if the situation calls for it. The La Mesa Police Department has been grappling with how to improve community relations since 2018, when an officer body slammed a high school student. 10 News reporter Matt Boone spoke to an advocate who had been working with the department on implementing change.
I think we're tired of having dialogues and nothing changing.
Aramik Blake has been meeting with the La Mesa Police Department since 2018 after an officer body slammed Brianna Bell, a 17-year-old Black Helix High student. She says she's had multiple meetings with Chief Walt Vasquez.
I told him your officers are a reflection of your leadership, and he was kind of hurt by that, being that something so negative had just happened.
The body slamming incident sparked student protests and instituted some change. Bell says the chief agreed to restorative justice and unconscious bias training for his officers.
We hadn't, had a really huge issue since Brianna Bell with La Mesa. So we were really under the impression that we had really come very far.
But then came video of a La Mesa police officer aggressively arresting a man who they later said had been smoking in public. That came 2 days after the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, all leading to a protest Saturday in which demonstrators were tear-gassed and a woman was shot in the head by a beanbag round from police.
The handling of it escalated the already heated emotional environment.
While there are laws and policies that Bell says could and should be changed, she says their goal is simple.
I don't think we're asking for a lot. We're asking for the justice system to work for us, just like it works for non-people of color.
Matt Boone, 10 News.
La Mesa Police acknowledged our request for comment, but so far have not provided a response.
Hundreds gathered inside a Minneapolis church today for the first memorial of George Floyd. Friends and family spoke about what they will miss most about him.
I love my brother, man. We had so many memories, together.
The thing that I will miss about him most is his hugs. Like, he was this great big giant. And when he would wrap his arms around you, you would just feel like, everything could just go away.
There will be a public viewing at a private memorial service in North Carolina Saturday, where Floyd was born. Then Monday, his body will return to Houston for a public memorial and a private service on Tuesday. Floyd's death has sparked more than a week of protests and outrage.